So my question to you is, are you a drug addict? Do you use cocaine?
No, ma'am.
So I want to speak to the agent officer who's maybe like not a drug addict.
May I see your ID, please?
I'm getting the ID right now. You can see I'm working. You can see I got the ID and you asked me 3 crimes. Right, look into my IDs. Okay. So the child is in fact the guy's kid? You got ID to say that the kid was his?
What seems to be your concern?
No, you know the kid is his?
Thank you, ma'am. Are you Miss Holmes?
Right.
Leslie Holmes?
Right.
Okay.
You know the kid is his? You like checked his ID or something like that and saw that like maybe he declared children on his tax record or the divorce record showed that he had joint custody or something?
Yeah. Miss Holmes, do you feel like hurting yourself at all?
No. Do you think if I call the police to report a child abduction or suspected child abduction, that's a sign of mental illness?
Yeah, can we step back? Yeah. Can you just come over here with us?
Okay, sure.
This way,
okay.
ma'am, please.
Yeah, I'm perfectly fine. You're perfectly fine. You don't take drugs. You do a drug test if they asked you. If the captain asked you to take a drug test, would you? Would you do a cocaine test for the captain of the police if he asked you to?
Where do you live, Miss Holmes? Where are you staying now?
You can put down 3126 Shattuck.
3126 Shattuck?
Right.
Is that your residence?
Right. So you ascertained that it was actually the father of, he had joint custody of the child? Mm-hmm. Like, did you check the tax records or did you check the custody of the divorce? What did you do to ascertain that the child is actually not being abducted and the child is actually safe? Aside from the fact that he's a cocaine dealer, maybe you're a cocaine addict, was there any other confirmation that the child is safe? Did you research the situation at all?
Yeah, the officer's investigating.
There's an officer out there with him currently?
You saw him when we came up.
There's an Asian guy out there, right? An Asian American.
Another officer.
Okay, he's still with them. Good. Okay, fine.
So why did you call the police today?
I suspected the child's being abducted. The child said help through the window.
What made you believe that?
Well, if the child said help you through a window, would you ignore it?
No, not at all.
Okay, that's why I called.
Okay. So you heard this child say help? He said
help, and the behavior between the 2 adults and the child was very, very non-standard behavior.
What did you see?
There was a woman with blonde hair who sort of transferred the kid over, but it didn't look like a mom and a dad. It didn't look like a healthy, like, family transferring a kid back and forth. It could be they had a miserable divorce, and it was just a custody issue, but it looked more like a trafficking issue where the kid was being passed along, so that's why I called in.
Trafficking?
Right.
So you thought the child was being trafficked?
That's what I thought. That's why I called, yeah.
Okay. Well, okay, so I think everything's okay with the child. He wasn't being abducted or trafficked or anything. Are you okay with that?
Did you do something like, did you call to see if there's a custody paper for him or a tax paper that says he declares a child on his income tax or that he has joint custody?
We spoke with the parents. It's all good.
You spoke to him, but like, did he show any identification that would like go on record?
He identified himself to the other officer.
And will you like get maybe the kid's photograph and see if it's in the missing child's database?
Yeah, he's not entered into our system.
Right, but you take his photograph and send it to like the child trafficking watch. There's a child trafficking database and an FBI database. You could photograph the child and put it in the FBI database, and then if a mom says, "Oh, my kid was taken," if she's, you know, a lot of times it's prostitutes' kids.
Right.
It's not necessarily the highest state of society's kids, but then they could like do a, you know, there'd be some record that there was something weird that happens. Right.
Yeah. Well, it was all clear by us through our investigation.
Do you want to tell me what your investigation protocol is?
We identify everybody.
All right, he showed you a California driver's license that was valid,
Yeah.
And could you then follow up just out of curiosity and see if he has like custody of a child?
We don't have access to things like that.
What would it take to like, check it out? The kid said help. Why would the kid say help?
I'm not sure.
But doesn't the kid have rights too?
I have no business.
Just carry on.
Just for your sake.
I mean, even if it's only domestic violence issues.
Listen, Miss Holmes.
Right.
I'm letting you know everything was okay.
I did social work in 3 years for college.
Okay.
I studied sociology to be a social worker in college. I have a degree.
All right.
I've taken like 200 hours of clinical training
I just want you to know that your concern has been taken care of. Okay.
But I'm like asking you, what makes you so certain? Because like I'm 45 years old and you're 30, and I'm thinking you're naive or you're corrupt.
No, I wouldn't want to question my partner's investigation. Okay. I think he did a good job with it. It's fine. Now, would you be okay leaving here today?
I was hoping to buy it. I actually came here to buy something, so I was hoping to buy it and then I can leave.
Okay, you can carry on buying
Great.
that if
Can
you
I
want.
have my ID back, please? But I still don't feel. I don't feel like that kid's in a state. Why did this kid say help to me? I mean, this is not my idea of a fun way to spend the day. You know what I mean? Why did the kid say help?
Have you been having any sort of mental issues lately?
So if I say that a kid said help to me, that means I have mental issues.
No,
And you can't corroborate the kid's safety except the dad has a driver's license. The fact that the man has a driver's license doesn't mean he has a kid. Is it even a valid driver's license that like matches the vehicle? You say it's a valid, that his vehicle is registered in the state of California.
It's all clear.
So this is testifiable. If this like shows up in court somewhere, you'd testify this under oath.
That he has a valid driver's license.
That matches the vehicle. I'm thinking
driver's licenses don't match with vehicles.
The DMV would like have a record matching the name with the vehicle. You could check that because that's a police record. But imagine if it was a child safety issue, you could actually say you're going to follow it because this is probable cause for an investigation. The kid said help, and this is not my idea of a fun way to spend the day. I'm not like doing this to harass you. It's kind of embarrassing and humiliating and kind of awkward, but you could check and see with the California State Tax Board and the Federal State Tax Board if he declares a child in his income tax, and if there's a divorce record, does he have joint custody? Because I don't think the two of them were ever married, and I don't think that kid's his kid.
I don't know if we can make that assumption. I don't know if you can make that assumption.
Okay, so like when there's an Amber Alert, this is like the little helicopter, the kid's being tracked, you know?
There wasn't an Amber Alert.
Right, technically there's not an Amber, but like when the kids get kidnapped, usually there's, you know, there's an eyewitness, there's something not right here, but you can't even validate it. You're saying the police don't have any power to check and see if that kid belongs to that adult? You're just going to let it go by. You're not going to like go above and beyond the call on duty and maybe like call the tax board and find out like if this driver's license matches a man. They may not be by law entitled to tell you personal details about his life because that might be classified information. You need a search warrant from a judge, but you could say, does this man declare one child on his tax return? That would be something that wouldn't necessarily violate their legal obligation to maintain confidentiality. And since you're a police officer, you could call and say, please verify that this man declares one male child on his tax return.
Okay. Now, will you feel comfortable if you just know that we're going to go through some steps to make sure that that kid's okay?
Yes, I would feel better. Yeah, that made me feel better. That made me feel better.
That's what we just did. That the Asian officer you were talking about that was outside, that's what he was doing.
You said you didn't have access to tax records just 2 minutes ago.
I didn't say we don't have access to...
You said it on video.
Did I?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's fine, that's fine.
It's fine, so it's been taken care of.
Well, in my opinion, the child...
I believe it's fine.
I don't think the child is safe, and I don't think you verified the child is safe, and I gave you enough information. You're here with enough information. You could if you cared about public safety more than whatever it is we're caring about here, like cocaine facades.
Alright, well, listen. I want you to know that we do a good job of investigating these kinds of things. Berkeley
actually has a ridiculous drug trafficking rate, has a ridiculous child abduction rate. Right. You guys are complicit with drug trafficking, drug addiction at a level that's famous nationwide. Berkeley drugs are famous nationwide. People export drugs from Berkeley all around the country, and it's famous.
Okay, so what does that have to do with the child?
It says your police department is somewhat of a joke, is what it says about you. Okay. There are some police on the police force who are not drug addicted, who actually enforce the law, and there's a lot of you who are drug addicted who are a joke. You're not police officers, you like work for the cocaine cartel more than you work for the public citizens who pay the taxes to pay your salaries.
Okay.
All right.
Sorry you feel that way.
Okay then.
About us.
Right. No, but you see, I'm so worried about the kid though. See, I'm old enough to be a kid's mom. You're not. You're just thinking it's just like another day, and it's like, oh, what if the cartel gets mad at us, or what if it's awkward, or what if I call and they say, no, you don't have this authority, then my ding would be dinged, and I wouldn't have the same confidence level. You could even call and get your ding dinged, and then you just feel like, oh, well, you tried the best you could do, but instead you're like acting like I'm the one with the problem, and that kid is not in a healthy situation. He said help. That means either there's domestic violence, which I don't think it is, or he's being trafficked, which I do think it is. But I'll see what I can do as a private citizen to follow up on it, since you don't seem to give a damn.
Well, there's not a whole lot that you can do. We have the resources that we can use, and we use them.
And would you like to go step by step to the resources you did use? Okay.
Well, listen, Ms. Holmes.
Right.
We have our mobile crisis unit that we want to just come and talk with you about, so you can tell them what you think the problem is here.
Right.
With the situation with the child.
Right. That's step one. The mobile unit arrived. That's step one. What's step two?
All right. So you can come tell them about.
The mobile unit is on their way.
They're almost here.
Oh, okay.
So you can talk to them about everything, and then let them know, what you want to do about this situation, what you wish to do about it, and things you saw and everything.
Right.
Will you be okay with that?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
They're on their way, so they'll be here in a little bit.
Okay.
And you can tell them everything.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Does that make you feel a little better about this?
Right. just wondered with child welfare. I mean, I felt like it'd be so much easier to walk away, but how can I like walk away from a kid, you know?
Good. Oh look, all right. So they're
okay,
here.
great, thank you. Hello, hi.
My name's Dana.
Right. Can I have my ID, sir? Are you trying to keep that? Okay, right.
So we're with Berkeley Mental Health. Just wanting to check in with you.
Okay, so this is about the child abduction, or you think there's a problem with me because I thought there was a child abduction?
We're just checking in.
Okay, I think I witnessed a child abduction. That's why I called in.
Right.
Right. Okay.
Can we do anything to help you?
No, thank you. No, thank you.
So, you want to tell me a little bit more about what happened? Just 'cause
I think I witnessed a woman transfer a child to a man in a way that didn't look like a familial situation. I'm trained in social work. I graduated from Rice University with sociology and anthropology degree. I did social work throughout college. I have 200 continuing education units in like child psychology and counseling. I worked for like the Houston Juvenile Crisis Center that works for kids working in the prisons. I worked at Trailblazers in New Jersey, which is for at-risk youth, teaching them crisis conflict management resolution skills. I worked as a regular camp counselor with middle-class white kids, etc. Plus, I've done anti-trafficking work, and because I went to school in Texas, there's no trafficking in the area, so I did anti-trafficking work with some organizations there, but I guess I won't mention necessarily because they're not entirely above ground. So it didn't look like normal family dynamics, like a wife and an ex-husband transferring custody of the kid for the day. It looked more like a trafficking situation where people were like making up random words, random conversations that had nothing to do with the normal coherent conversation that a mother and a father would have about a kid. They were trying to appear to be normal while not being normal. I probably should have videotaped the entire thing, but I was just like, no, not this again. And then the kid was transferred to his van. The van illegally has tinted windows so that you can't see the kid's face once the front window is up. The sign on the back didn't match his personality profile. He's not a warm, fuzzy kind of guy that wants everyone to know it's mom and dad, or dad and son, but it's a man-boy trafficking. The license plate is a vanity plate. The contractors that have real contractor plate, it's number, letter, number, 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 number. Lately they started one to say they're illegal contractors. It's a vanity plate that's number, 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 letter, number, which is like inverse of the contractor plate to say they're doing something illegal like trafficking drugs, in this case maybe trafficking children. Okay.
Do you feel like threatened right now?
I don't feel threatened for my own safety. I'm an adult. I have a driver's license. I'm a citizen of the United States of America. I can cover my own expenses. I'm concerned for a little 7-year-old boy who said help.
Yeah. So the cops have cleared that situation?
They didn't actually clear it in a way that was legitimate, and I'd like to point out that I think that at least one of these cops is a cocaine addict, and this is a cocaine trafficking situation.
Okay.
And, for instance, we know that the man has a driver's license, but that doesn't prove he's the father of the child. It wasn't necessarily, they didn't take the time to figure out if the car matched the driver's license either. But what you could do is go through the California Tax Board or the county or state divorce board and find out on his California tax record, does he declare at least one child on his income tax? Then you could see that would be corroboration that he's in fact the father. Alternately, you could go through the divorce papers of the county or the state and then see, was there a divorce? Does he have custody of a child? And that would be what I would consider a legitimate investigation, just not saying he has a license that may or may not be valid, because a lot of false documents travel around California, because both Berkeley and Los Angeles are hubs for drug and human trafficking. So the fact that he has a license plate that can pass through a cursory examination doesn't really mean all that much, except he had like $1,000 to get a false ID that sort of looks like him. It matches some number of some guy that's the same height and same age. So in my opinion, it wasn't a thorough investigation to clear the child safe. It was not even an investigation.
Okay. So that was your concern,
right.
That you don't feel like...
They've talked to me for 30 minutes. They talked to him for 5 minutes. That's another thing I'll point out. So I think that's a little bizarre. I asked him if he'd be willing to do a cocaine test if the chief of police asked him to, or something like that, which is sort of a rude question, but it's relevant because it's cocaine trafficking, and I think there's a lot of blindness. Well, no, Berkeley, did you know that Berkeley has a reputation countrywide for being a drug hub? It is relevant because the cops are complicit in it, and that's why it's a relevant situation. It's not considered just disqualifying fact that you're a drug addict to be a policeman. In many states, you couldn't become a police officer if you were a drug addict, but in Berkeley it's considered maybe, drug laws are so passe, so why, make that excluding qualification. That's why it's relevant, because I think that if the person were like a father who was not drug addicted, they'd like handle the situation somewhat differently. They'd be concerned about the child's safety instead of looking into the cartel. And I think it's odd that you were called in to interview me instead of the tax board being called to find out if the kid was actually declared, or if through a divorce record he was actually half custody. What parents transfer their child in the parking lot of Walgreens if it's actually joint custody? Wouldn't you normally you'd go to the mother's house, the father's house, or the school? It's very unusual to do custody in the parking lot of a pharmacy. So it's not a normal situation. There was no legitimate, in my opinion, investigation of this situation. It was a cursory, pro forma investigation that determined man has a driver's license. It did not determine anything more than that. But this conversation, again, is going on in a weird... I've iterated my position 4 times. I recommended early on they might want to contact either the tax board. He said they don't have the authority to do that. Then he said they had already contacted them, but it was fine. But even if you can't contact them, that'd be an interesting thing to pass through city legislation or state legislation. The police might have the option to do something like that if there is probable cause, like a witness, the kid said through the window, help. So that would be probable cause then to see if in fact the guy declares a 7-year-old child in his tax return, fine. At least make that rudimentary level in the age of telecommunications investigation. It'll only take 2 or 3 minutes to do that.
Okay. And you don't have to tell me, you know, anything about yourself, but,
right.
You know,
I'm just kind of curious why I'm the subject of investigation and the child is not.
I'm not here to investigate.
Right,
I'm just here
right.
to talk to you.
Right, but you were called and they didn't bother to call the tax board to see if they could get some cooperation to see, does this man declare one tax child? Okay, right. But I'm still caring about the child. But okay, you want to ask questions, so I'll listen politely to your question, and then I'd like to continue my shopping because this is not going anywhere that's useful. I'll try to follow it up with the human trafficking hotline.
Okay. Is that something that you would like us to do?
Yes, if you care about things like that, I very much appreciate some other people caring about this besides me, because it's kind of heavy to carry this stuff.
So then, what would you normally do?
I would just, there's a human trafficking hotline, they have a website and a phone number, and I got a photograph, but not that good of the kid, and I photographed the man, ideally, I recommend they also photograph the child and put it in the FBI database for like maybe even just 48 hours. So if someone says, oh, my kid was picked up, although often it's prostitutes' kids, they think they did something wrong and they deserve to have the kid confiscated. They don't report it within 48 hours. It occurs to them a month later when they're not stoned anymore. But put it in the FBI database so there'd be like a picture to match the most. Oh yeah, it's my kid. So 3 things to look at. Yeah.
You've lived for a long time?
I was a software engineer here for 7 years. I was co-founded Free Speech Radio News. I worked at Pacifica Radio. Like I say, graduate of Rice University, did anti-trafficking work, Latin American anthropology, which is a lot of political economy, looking at the drug culture and how that's the unofficial curriculum. Officially, you study like Marx, but underneath it, you're like studying how this crap works.
And you live by yourself?
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Well, I mean, I know that. Regardless of anything, right?
Right.
Like, having something like this happen can be kind of upsetting.
Right.
So I'm just making sure that you have the support system, that you feel comfortable.
Yeah, I'm just going to report the FBI into the human trafficking thing, and then, you know, they probably have clearance to, like, talk to the IRS and things like that, because they're, like, they have that kind of clearance.
Well, what about you? Like, how do you take care of you after kind of, like, a disturbing thing happening like this?
Right, I'm just going to report it, and then I'll go on with my life. It'll take like 15 minutes or half an hour to report it, yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna talk to my partner.
Right. Alrighty then. You went in here? I thought women would be the kid getting back to, anyway.
You thought what? I didn't hear you what?
I wasn't talking to you.